Hi everyone. Well, today's video I did promise the awesome Stihl that I was going to make him a Stihl video review of all my trimmers. So this is basically looking at a new trimmer. He wants to get a Stihl and he's asking me to pick him out a good model for him. So with that said, I do have Stihl's current lineup of trimmers. So in this video review I'm going to give you my own personal experiences owning these 5 trimmers, giving you my personal likes and my personal dislikes about the trimmers, as well as telling you if I have experienced any problems with these trimmers, since you don't really often see that in reviews. So yeah, long-term review. Alright, so let's give you the first trimmer here. This is the oldest one in my fleet. This is a Stihl FSE 60. So this is the only Stihl electric trimmer that is offered in the North American market, but in Europe, Africa, and Australia, as well as Asia, you have other models like the FSE 31, 41, 60, 71, and 81. So that's the model. Here is the specs on this one. It's a 5.3 amp motor. Spins at 8,400 RPMs. Made in Austria of March 2001. It's basically got your comfy grip, very similar to the handle on your FS45. You got the deflector, and then of course your head. So the only problem I had on this FSE 60, you probably have seen videos of 2 years ago when I first had it, was that the trimmer head was worn off, of course, because it's a 2001 model. So I used the AutoCut C5-2. The previous one was the original 5-2. That's on my 38. So line that I'm using here is 0.080, but also you can accept the 0.95 line, which is the orange line. So what I like about this model, of course, if it's price. So this is the only cheap Stihl model that you can afford and buy, and it's actually a decent electric trimmer. It's actually more powerful than, you know, the Black & Deckers that I have and the Weed Eater SG14. Now, the price on the Stihl FSE 60 is around $130 Canadian, so it's pretty affordable for a Stihl trimmer, even though it is not gas powered. Also, what I like about it is that it's a long curve shot base, so it's a lot larger and more easier to use than my newer Black & Decker and my SG14, which is a very short trimmer. It also weighs 8.8 pounds, a little bit more heavier than your typical electric trimmer, but pretty on par with Stihl's FS38, which is around 9 pounds. Also like about it is that for an electric trimmer, it has double line as opposed to a single line. The deflector is pretty large, but you can also buy larger deflector for the FS38 and some of the other machines. You know, this one's pretty small, so I got all the debris on my legs when I cut. And also it sounds quiet. The only thing I don't like about it, of course, it's electric, so and you're only limited to the cord that you have. And it's not really powerful if you're going to cut like very thick weeds. But though it is pretty quiet. That's it. So great trimmer if you're doing very light duty lawn work. If you're just a homeowner that doesn't want to mix gas and oil and doesn't want to have the hassle of endless starting up, I definitely recommend the FSE 60. Alright, now for the very first Stihl trimmer that I ever bought. So this one here is a 2009 Stihl FS38. You probably have seen my video on this trimmer, cold starting the FS38, uploaded on May 31st of 2009. That was the very first day I bought it. So let's have a look at this model, and I believe it's available in the US market now. Engage the throttle, you have to push the safety handle and then have your throttle here, on and off switch, D-style handlebar, and this one here is coming apart. That's what it is. And that's the auto cut head, the the 5-2, not the 25-2. That's on my others. Now I have two sizes of lines because I ran out of green, which is the .080, but you can see that your FS38 with the 5-2 auto cut head can take on the .095 orange line. And I use the threaded line because it's much more quieter. You don't get that whirring sound, and I find it cuts better too. So it's a very nice trimmer. Like I said, the weight of it is around 9 pounds. It's pretty powerful, around 0.8 horsepower. Didn't really have any significant problems with it other than sometimes the intermittent on and off switch problem. Sometimes when you shut it off, it doesn't really go on. Sorry, it doesn't go off all the time. But other than that, I have no problem starting this trimmer. It's always been fairly reliable. So I'll demonstrate to you a real cold start. So all my Stihl trimmers haven't been started since Dominic was starting them up, that 11-year-old kid. Okay, so I put on choke. Go to free primes. And there we go. Starts right up. So all my Stihls have clutch drives. So basically the auto cut doesn't spin unless you engage the throttle, which is a good sign and a good safety issue resolved. The thing I don't like about the model is that could have been like a longer shaft. And then again, you could bypass that by buying an FS45, which is exactly the identical model. And the only thing about it is that it's not meant to cut, you know, like the big stuff, like the thick branches and weeds. Other than that, it's a very powerful, nice trimmer, very good for the homeowner, and very powerful too. At least for what you need it for. Shuts off. And then sometimes the muffler arrestor screens get plugged with carbon, but that's a very easy fix. I have videos on that, how to do it. Other than that, it's a very nice trimmer, very affordable, and most of my neighbors have bought one, 2 of them at least, in my neighborhood, because I told them such good reviews about this trimmer. Now this is the third trimmer that I bought a year after I bought my FS38 because I wanted something a little bit more powerful than it. So I decided to get my first straight shaft model called the STIHL FS70 RC-E. So this is the 25-2 auto cut. Now this one is a cold, well, kind of a warm start because I used it a couple of hours ago to do 5 clients. 70 RC, R means a loop handle, and CE means that this trimmer is equipped with easy to start. So unlike the FS38, oh, I forgot to tell you about the FS38. A little more about it. It's a 27.2 cc motor, similar to this. The only difference is that this trimmer is featuring the new technology of two-strokes that Stihl is building, called the 2-mix, which essentially means it's stratified charged, much like the newer Husqvarna products, whereas the FS38 and the 45 models, and the FS46, which is a little bit longer curve shaft, and then the FS55, which is no longer available in Canada, has the single two-stroke motor. Now what I like about this model is that it has semi-automatic choke, which essentially means that when you prime it, you pull it, and then this will be on choke, you'll have full throttle, and then all you have to do is just put the throttle and it automatically gives you to the run position. So which is a great feature for the trimmer. And most of the new lineup of Stihls are actually incorporating this. Well, this motor is essentially available on the shorter version of the FS40, which essentially is an FS38 but with this motor. Then you go to the FS50, which is the replacement of the FS45, and the FS56, which essentially has a different color housing and slightly weaker motor. Now this FS70 is a 1.1 horsepower version. It is classified as a professional brush cutter, and it does really well on gas too. The FS38, if I cut grass, usually my clients have around 5,000 to 7,000 square feet. I have maybe 3 customers that have bigger properties. If I fill it to the max with my FS38, I can expect around 4 to 5 lawns till it empties. With this FS70, I'm going to get about to 6 lawns with it. So here's the gas cap, which is my least favorite of this model. Fortunately for you guys, the 2012 models and newer have the screw cap ones, like my blowers. So the only problem about my FS70, 0 engine problems. The only thing I had to do is replace the gas cap. But other than that, it's a sweet trimmer. It's been very reliable. I had some problems with it stalling out and not giving enough power, of course, again due to the muffler screen. So I removed it, and it sounds awesome, and I have a slight power increase, fairly noticeable. And I noticed that it's also a little bit louder too. So yeah, I like about it that it's pretty reasonably priced, around $350 Canadian. That's how much I paid for mine. I got it from my Stihl dealer. And the only reason why I opted around the 90, because the 90 back then was more expensive. It was around $400 at the time. Now the price of the FS90 is around $360. So I'll give you a cold start on it. Give you primes. Put on choke. Now this is the easy to start system, which I love about this trimmer, is that it's very, very easy to pull. Even a 5-year-old child can do it. So what essentially is 2 recoil springs that I pull together, so that way it's a lot more easier to start. So let me see that. Whoop. And there we go. Starts easy as that all the time. On warm starts, it always starts in 1 pull. The only thing I don't like about it, it does have flex cable shaft. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. You can see it wobbling. And that's a bit of a disappointment because you can't really retrofit a blade or any other similar features that you can put on it. So that's a little minus, but Jeffro tells me that for $60 you can actually convert the flex cable shaft into a solid cable shaft like the 90 and the 250. That way you can put several attachments to it. So the dry weight of the FS70 RC is around 10.4 pounds, making it Stihl's lightest straight shaft trimmer that's available on the market. But unfortunately, because of the flex shaft, it makes it slightly unbalanced, so I'm going to show you. So you can see that the motor weighs a lot more than the trimmer head, but it's really no big of a deal. I like this trimmer a lot. I've been using it commercially with my FS90 and my FS38, and it's a fantastic trimmer, great product. And it can cut weeds with it, like really, well, nice trimmer. Now we come on to my other trimmer here. This is the STIHL FS90R. This is a different animal compared to the FS70 in the fact that it is a 4-stroke motor that they call the 4-mix motor. Now the 4-mix engine really is a 4-stroke engine that uses 2-stroke gas for lubrication. So you have the best of both worlds, because normally with 4-stroke engines you have cams, lobes, and valves, and usually for most true 4-stroke motors you have an oil sump, which means that you have one container for oil and one container for gas. Now this combines the 2-stroke engine principle. That way you have to mix the oil and you don't have to worry about oil sumps and changing to oil, making it reduced weight. So the whole trimmer weighs around 11.7 pounds for the R model and 12.3 pounds for the bike handle model. Oh yes, the bike handle model is only available in the European market for the FS70. So like my FS70 has the 25-2 auto cut. There's the 90R. I have a bar for the blades because I do put blades on it from time to time whenever I need it. And the on and off switch. You have choke and run, primer. FS90R. So, like about this model is that it's a great model, exceptionally a lot of torque since it's a 4-stroke motor. The only dislikes about it is that it's a little bit more higher maintenance than your typical 2-stroke because you have to adjust the valves from time to time. The only time when you need to adjust the valves is when you're pulling your trimmer and you notice that it's an easy pull, then right away a hard pull, an easy pull, hard pull. So for me, I've owned this trimmer for 2 years. I had quite a few problems with this motor. Since it's 2 years of ownership, I had to replace 2 diaphragms. One diaphragm last year and one this year, and 2 spark plugs. But other than that, it's a sweet trimmer. It always starts on the first pull, most of the time. So it's on. That's a little bit slow. And you can actually get this 4-mix in 3 different flavors. You can get the 28.4cc version, which is the one on the 90R. You can get the 31.4cc, which is the FS100RX, which is very similar to the FS70, has the flex cable shaft, and it's the lightest 4-mix motor, but you can't put a blade on it. And the FS110, which is the straight shaft model and the solid cable shaft, and then the FS130, which is the monster 36.3cc. And there we go, it's a cold start. So you can see it sounds like an ATV, a lot different than my FS70. And actually this is a very popular choice for professionals since most of my competition uses the FS90 and the FS110. Great trimmer. And now we came to the big beast, the 2012 Stihl FS250R. Pretty much brand new. Now this is a big beast, 40.2 cc motor, pure two-stroke. Now, if you're looking for an FS250, I suggest buying it now, because in the next 2 or 3 more years you won't be able to see this model anymore, because now it's no longer meeting EPA emissions and you won't see this model again. So I think the replacement is around the FS260, I believe, and it's the same engine as the clearing saws that they have. Now this is a very, very powerful trimmer, and it's actually used in the older clearing saws like the FS300, 350, 450, and 480. Fantastic trimmer, great power, but a little bit on the negative side is that it is expensive. For the loop handle model that you see right here, it's around $600. I paid $580 for mine. I got a good deal on mine. And the loop handle is around $640 Canadian, so a little bit more expensive, but you do get a nice powerful trimmer, and I always stand by the statement, you pay what you get for. And the trimmer is actually really light for a 40cc motor. The loop handle is around 13.2 pounds, whereas the bike handle is around 14. Okay, this one has the IntelliCarb. Okay. Also a nice gas tank. Love the gas cap, very similar to my FS38. Oh, I forgot to mention the FS90R has a reasonable fuel economy. I can get around 5 lawns for it to empty. This one I can get around 3 or 4, because it is a 40cc motor and it is drink a little bit on gas, but it's not too bad. So give you a startup of it. And there we go. And other professionals use this model too. This thing can cut about anything in here. Thick weeds to branches around 1 to 2 inches thick, no problem. So this is FS250R, recommend if you're going into like commercial / heavy duty work. You can never go wrong with 2.2 horsepower. And the FS90R is ideal commercial trimmer. A lot more cheaper than the FS250R. But the only thing it is high maintenance, and you do need to adjust the valves. But that's only after 140 hours of use, so pretty good. Then the FS70, which is a mid-duty trimmer. Don't have any problems with it, like my 250R. It's been very reliable. Always starts up instantly, and the best thing is you don't have to adjust the valves on it. 38 is good for the homeowners for light duty and mid-commercial use, but it doesn't really have the power to tackle thick weeds. And then the FSE60 is also good for the homeowner that doesn't want to mix gas and oil or to spend a lot of time trying to start the motor. So, hope this video review helps you, the Awesome Stihl, to get a cool trimmer, and good luck with your endeavors. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll see some more vids.